As stated, the major, and most conspicuous archaeological phenomenon in 6th century BCE Judah is the destruction of Jerusalem, the sharp decline in urban life, the destruction of many areas in the kingdom of Judah, and the many changes that occurred in the material culture. Our knowledge of these changes is coming from the many excavations, surveys, and salvage excavations conducted in many different areas in Judah. Let's go out from the studio for a few minutes and have a short drive to Tel Azekah, where I'm conducting my project of excavations. At Azekah, after a short tour at the site and a quick look at the area around, I will say a few words on the importance of the pottery for the archaeological research, and will explain about the methods of excavations and surveys and the use of these for the historical research. Let's go. The main find in every excavation in the land of Israel dealing with the historical periods is pottery sherds. In every excavation we find thousands of pieces of pottery. Part of them are like the reams, as I have here, reams. Part of them can be body sherds, simple body sherds. Part of them can be bases, or handles of jars or juglets or jugs. The reason is that, unlike bronze, iron, even glass, the clay can be found everywhere. You can just come and pick it from every river, from every wadi in the region. It's very cheap, it's common, you can have it everywhere, even more. Unlike stone, for example, it's very easy to produce clay vessels. You can have cooking pots, you can have jugs, jars, bowls, everything can be made of clay. However, the good thing for the archaeologist is that it's very breakable. You can take every piece of sherd and it's very, very breakable. So every month, year, few years, these clay vessels were broken. And then people came and made a new clay vessel or bought a new clay vessel. But the new clay vessel is a little bit different. The rim can be a little bit different. The shape of the body can be a little bit different. The base can be a little bit, even the handle can be a little bit different. And this is something that if we can date it, so it becomes the most important tool for the research, for the archaeologist, in order to date the finds that they have in the excavations. For examples, when we can date for different excavations that can really date kind of a rim or a kind of a handle, and they know to date it, so when we find the same rim or the same handle, we can date it in other sites. And we have a kind of a catalog that archaeologists can date pottery that they find in the excavation. Most of the main sites in the land of Israel were excavated, and we have a good picture on the history of each site. We know what were the main periods, we know when were the main destructions, we know about the history of nearly every main site in the land of Israel. However, in order to know what was the history of the regions around the main sites, we developed a method which we called archaeological survey. In the survey, we are going around the sites in open field, in the wadis, in the hills, and we are looking for the small sites collecting pottery. According to the pottery that we are collecting, we know what were the periods that each small site, hamlet, farm, village was populated. We have a method which is combining the two methods, and this is the salvage excavation. Salvage excavation usually is part of the developing of areas when we need to excavate before building new houses or roads, and then we are going to the small sites and we excavate small parts of the sites, and we have good picture of the history of some of the sites. When we are collecting the data from the excavations, the surveys, and the salvage excavations, we have quite a reasonable, good historical picture of large areas, especially in the area of Judah. We are standing at the top of Tel Azekah, one of the most important fortified cities in the western border of the Kingdom of Judah. The importance of this site is very clear from the Old Testament in even the story of the fight between David and Goliath. Goliath who came from the Philistine territory to the west, and David who came from the Judean hills to the east. And the fight that was between Azekah and Socho here is symbolized the importance of this site as a border between Philistia and Judah. The site was excavated for only a few weeks in 1898 and 1899 by the two British archaeologists Bliss and McAllister, and since then no one dug in this site until we came as an expedition from Tel Aviv University, Heidelberg University, and many other students from all over the world who are coming every summer to excavate in this site and explore its secrets. From the archaeological excavation, it's clear that this site was an important city with huge fortifications in the Middle Bronze Age, in the first half of the second millennium BC. And it was a big city, probably part of the city of Gath of the Philistines, in the second half of the second millennium BC. It became a Judahite important city in the biblical period, in the first half of the first millennium BCE. And we know the history of this site, especially in two periods. At the end of the 8th century, it was destroyed by the Assyrian king Sennacherib, and 100 years later, it was destroyed by the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar. From the time of the first destruction of the site in the biblical time, we have a very nice inscription written probably by King Sennacherib. It calls the Azekah inscription. In this inscription, the king, Sennacherib, is describing how he's coming from the land of the Philistines, from Gath, just a little bit to the west from here, and he's coming to conquer the land of Hezekiah, the Judahite. The first city that he sees, that he can see in front of him, is Azekah. He described Azekah as an eagle nest, with huge fortifications and towers like iron daggers to the sky. He describes how he's conquering the site, killing the people in it, and destroy the city. This is the destruction of 701 BCE. 100 years later, when the Babylonians are coming, we have two interesting descriptions of what was the role of Azekah. On the one hand, Jeremiah, who is sitting in Jerusalem, describing the two last cities that were left in Judah, Lachish and Azekah. And then, in a letter, in an ostrakon that was found in Lachish, in the destruction level from 586 BCE, the people of Lachish are describing that they cannot see the fire signals of Azekah. So the site was destroyed again in 586 BCE. From this point in the history of this site, it became the southwestern corner in the province of Yehud, the province of Judah. To the east, we have the province of Yehud. To the west, we have the Philistine territory, the province of Ashdod. And to the south from here, there is the province of Idumea, the Idumean Arabian province that is going from here all the way to the Negev. We are standing in the eastern slopes of Tel Azekah. This is the only area in the site that we have later periods after the late Hellenistic. We have Roman tower that I'm standing near the walls. We have a reuse of this tower in the Byzantine period. We have early Muslim platform. This is the area in the site that was populated in the first millennium AD. We are in one of the water cisterns of Tel Azekah. We know that these cisterns went out of use with the Babylonian destruction, since in the bottom of this cistern we have a layer of many broken pottery vessels dated to this period. The ridge of Tel Azekah is separating between the higher and the lower Shephelah, and here to the west you can see the lower Shephelah with the main site in this area, which is Tel Tzafi, biblical Gath of the Philistines. Furthermore, you can see the coast with the main cities of Ashkelon and Ashdod. On the far east, we can see the Judean hills, the heart of the Judean kingdom. Below us, this is the higher Shephelah, and this ridge that we are standing on, the Tel Azekah and the ridge to the south, is separating between the higher Shephelah to the east and the lower Shephelah in the land of the Philistine to the west. The road below us, leading from Bet Shemesh to Lachish in the south, is the western border of the Judahite kingdom, and the junction that we can see just below us is the reason why Azekah was established. This is a junction of the main road leading from the west, from the land of the Philistines, from Gath of the Philistines, to the road of the western border of Judah. Anyone who wants to go to Jerusalem from this region has to go from this junction.